and what's been the impact that he's had with Purdue since he's left you?
Well, he obviously, just look at the stats, he's playing well. He's a good football player, so that doesn't surprise us at all. Surprise, probably a strong word, because you just don't. I think, the way college football is evolving right now, if you're surprised by much that happens in terms of player movement and those types of things, probably shame on you there. Maybe, I don't know if surprise is the right word, but the timing, to me, if you would think a guy, if he's going to leave a program, he'd do it back in the winter time so he could get somewhere, get there and, go through the spring practice and start learning the offense, that type of thing, and also their system, and then also get to know his teammates. But it doesn't seem like it's affected him. He's playing really well right now, and he's a good football player, and we're going to have to try to do a good job of defending him on defense, and then also, the special teams aspect.
How do you recruit and retain wide receivers when they can look at what Charlie Jones did, 21 catches all of last year, 14 games, and then takes off in a different program?
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know what would have happened if he was here. We saw him make great improvement, I thought, this spring, so we were really excited about that. And then he's not here, so there's not much you can say about that.
So when you see his numbers, though, do you ever say to yourself, maybe we should have used him more? Or is that easy to say in hindsight?
Well, I would argue he's a much better player now than he was. I thought he was much better at the end of spring practice. As a receiver, he's been a upper echelon return guy. He's been really good. Obviously, that was very evident, going back to early 2020. But I think he's really progressed as a receiver. No, I'm not saying he's a bad receiver then, but he's a much better one. He was much better in April.
Do you think this could negatively impact you from a recruiting perspective when it comes to receivers, when they see what he did when he was here versus what he's doing at Purdue?
We'll worry about that later on. Right now, we're just trying to worry about Purdue, but it's hard to quantify all that stuff. And again, I would just suggest, me personally, I think he's a better receiver. Was a better receiver at the end of spring practice than he was at the start. Like a lot of our players grow and develop as they go through their careers. And say the same thing about Jack Campbell. Talking about good players, he's a better player now than he was, 2 years ago. We're going through every phase, so it's important. And you think about Charlie. He started out in Maxwell. I don't know if he walked on up there. I think I heard that, but he's a guy who's just done that and ascended. And I'll shift over to I was talking to somebody about George Kittle, who was a good player when he left here. I would argue he's a much better player now. So good players ascend. That's part of the process.